Hey there. As you probably know, this is a very different type of style of video that I'm doing. Normally, I will actually do music production, DAW videos, and just actually to show you tips and tricks and actually sometimes discuss about music business and how to run your own music business and stuff like that. I wanted to do a more realistic, this time, a realistic approach and just kind of more behind the scenes, giving you kind of a more realistic day to day life as a mix engineer that's working with clients. Things we, as music engineers and producers, wish that what we wish as music engineers and producers that our clients will do. So, henceforth, the top three reasons. Reason number one, and the biggest one, is organization. So, one of the biggest things that I tend to notice, and a lot of people always do, is they always just throwing them in a folder and expect us to know what audio number 35 is. And it's not saying that it's a bad thing. Yes, we're getting paid to do the work, but in reality, it just creates a lot more work for us, and we lose a lot more time having to figure out what exactly is audio track number 35. Instead of just leaving your audio track number 35 labeled and titled that way, you can just simply just title it guitar track number 35. So that way, it just cuts down the work we need to do to figure out what it is as the music engineer and producer, and it just really makes our lives easier because we can just simply plug it in into our DAWs and start working on the audio tracks. So that's just one thing that I tend to notice is the organization and the labeling, and it's just a mess when we open the file and the folders, and we just want things to be more organized, cleaned up, and presented in a way where we can just go straight to work instead of doing extra work just to be doing that work later. Reason number two, expectations versus reality. So what I mean by this is just a lot of starting clients or just people that's starting to do music or whatnot. Most of the time they kind of don't really know what they want. And that's fine. You don't need a clear-cut answer for what it is you want for your music right away. But you can actually ask questions. I think the most important thing is to define and kind of know at least kind of what is the bare minimum you want out of your mixes instead of leaving it all to the engineer or producer to do all that for you. It's just very crucial, I find, and important for clients or people that hand off their music for someone else to work on to kind of give them a clear goal. So it doesn't have to be complex. If you don't know where to start, you can always ask them, hey, just say I'm the client, I'm talking to Joe, which is the mix engineer or mastering engineer, it doesn't matter. You want to communicate at least some bare bones stuff. So let's just say you have no idea what you should be asking for or what you should be looking for a final product of your song. You can always ask, hey, John, what is kind of like the typical things or kind of goals that most music should go through? So what are the goals? Like, what is considered to be professional in your eyes or what is considered to be good in your eyes? I think that's a better way. So at least even though you don't know exactly what you want for that mix or master and what is the end result, by talking to the professional, they're able to at least give you an idea of what to look for. And it's just very important that the client that you're working with and the mix engineer, music producer, whoever you're working with, understands kind of what they want at the end of the day. So it's both important for the client themselves to know what they want and the engineers, producers to ask those important questions like, hey, is there someone you want to sound like? Do you want clarity? Do you want more emphasis on the guitars or stuff like that? I think it's very important to really discuss what you as the artist want. It could be basic. It could just be very simple. Just be like, hey, I want something that sounds clear, sounds professional, and when it comes to the effects, I will like this and that. So the more you can figure out what you want on your side and bring that to the table, the easier it is for the engineer and producer to make it the way you want it to sound. So apples to apples. We don't want apples to oranges, all right? The third reason is just really just looking up how to prepare your files. So, what bit rate should it be in? What file format should it be in? So for the client side, it's very important to address and ask that question early on. And for the engineer producer side, it's also important to make sure that you communicate that to that person if it's their first time working with you and stuff like that. So it's very important to address where things go and kind of how files should be set up. So if you like this video, or if you have some other thoughts, or you want to add some more stuff to what I had to say, or disagree on some things you can say, feel free to leave a comment. I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.